Welcome to Classic Heart, the BMW Group Classic podcast. This is JP, and today's guest is Esteban Valentin, an aerospace engineer director who serves as a BMW CCA M Chapter president. What a title. And a passionate BMW enthusiast who has curated some of the most memorable M events in the US.
This car is the most honest car you ever see.
It's been a dream ever since I've had it.
The first time I heard that engine screaming, I thought, I gotta have one of those.
It's the joy of driving.
What's great about a BMW Classic is the community that surrounds it.
When you listen to that, that's why we're here.
Esteban, it's a pleasure to have you here. Let's start by looking back. How did your passion for cars and BMWs in particular first begin?
Hello, JP. It's an honor for me to be here. Much appreciated for the invitation. The car bug, like I would like to say, came from my dad. My dad was always a passionate, automotive guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Massachusetts. My dad had a lot of friends that had car dealers. So he would be able to have a nice car, drive for a little bit, and then come back with another new toy.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, we had a lot of muscle cars. So he had like a 69 Mustang that it was like a 289, and he had a 302 swapped into it. So he already
fastback
was
or coupe?
It was a coupe.
Very good.
He bought it like really cheap in the junkyard, and then ended up restoring the whole thing. This was like in the 80s. I'm an early 80s guy. So
Nice.
my passion really before the BMWs was mostly on the Hondas. So I'm a Honda guy, and I had a lot of them, and I tweaked them a lot, and I did things that we shouldn't do, like street racing, and then I got smarter, right? But it was on a budget, right? I grew up in Puerto Rico, although I was born in Massachusetts. Both of my parents are from Puerto Rico, and I grew up there. So the Honda scene was really big in Puerto Rico, and it was cheap. So I always liked BMWs, but unfortunately, I wasn't in a position to purchase them.
Yeah.
I think the first car that really caught my eye from the BMW lineup, I mean, the E30 M3 was something I always saw when I was young, but again, it was like a nice, cool looking car. Didn't know a lot about them, but the car that really, was the one that I was in a position that I could buy a BMW was the 1M.
Mm-hmm.
So when the 1M launched, it was like, wow, small, nice, like it looked muscular. It was the Valencia orange color. That was the launch one. I mean,
Yes.
It was an eye catcher, right? But again, it took me a couple years after that to actually get into one. And my first BMW was actually in 2016. And it was a flip between, do I go for the 1M or do I get something similar? And it ended up being the first generation M2.
I mean, the 1M has been a topic on this podcast quite often because we had one of our guests was Shmi150, Tim, and Tim was claiming that he bought the cheapest 1M ever available because he started his BMW ownership with a 1 Series diesel at that time. And so he always dreamt about that car. And I think this one, like the E92 M3, the brainchild of this is the 1M, in my opinion, in a sense. So I really loved it. And, don't forget, it's only 2,700, 600-ish units in total produced, as far as I know.
714 for the US and Canadian market. I know it well.
See. Here you go.
And I'll tell you right now, that's a funny story because like me on Facebook, I've seen one in the last week posted on about 5 or 6 groups, and it has about 200,000 miles. So the owner actually drove it a lot. And it's priced the cheapest one that I've seen so far, 35,000. And
maybe you can beat him.
And I said, that's what I said, if I keep on seeing this one, I'm going to have to go and pick it up and just use it for a while and then flip it. Because I do sometimes that with some of the cars that I have.
Please keep us posted about this because I really want to see that. That would be, I think that would be a nice challenge. So Tim, if you're listening, there might be a competition coming up, but we wait and see.
I'll see if I can. I see if I can beat Smee on that one.
Exactly. Let's see. I mean, that's an exciting story. So coming back to your personal BMW. So remind me, please, because the first one you purchased was a
M2. I was basically thinking, should I do the 1M? But the 1M it was already 3 years old, right? 4 years old, because I think it was only a 2013 model. So it might be a car that's out of warranty. So it kind of steered me away from the 1M. But beginning of January, I always go to the Rolex 24 IMSA race. That opening session is at Daytona. And smack in the middle of the BMW display, they have a Long Beach Blue M2. And it was like, oh my God, this is like the newer version of the 1M. And then I'm sitting there, they're pretty much comparable. They were in the $50,000 range. So I'm like, do I do a 1M or do I do a newer version of what the 1M is with warranty and all that stuff? So it was off to the races on how to figure out how to get one, because again, it was like, you need an allocation. So it became an obsession. At that point, that was my hook in with BMW, the M2.
Esteban, allow me a question, because, you know, it's very clear that, for example, the African market, completely different models sometimes. So we see this fantastic in-between models in South Africa, then South America, different market, the United States, so North America, different market. The M2 was also delivered with the 3-liter turbocharged inline 6, right?
Correct.
And also the same output of 365 or whatever horsepower.
Yeah, the M2 was pretty much the same across everywhere. And that car was like a bang for the buck. I mean, it had, you know, coupe. I mean, amazing. Manual, the power of performance, the sound. It was like, that car is what got me into BMW. And I on Instagram, I made my first Instagram for a car, for that car. And I met so many people. And that's what started my Instagram also.
I mean, a good starting point, I have to say. But why do you think America, so North America, has sometimes different models, even though kind of regulations do not necessarily apply? Why is that?
So I've been, like I said, I've been blessed through being with BMW CCA and leading the M Chapter now for about 4 years. I worked with a lot of people from BMW and sometimes as product specialist, and I've had that conversation. And most of the time it's just, you know, the market determines kind of what they believe would be a good sell here. So
yeah, okay. Let us speak a bit more about also your activities in the BMW CCA M Chapter. So what is what you guys are doing?
So M Chapter is one of the chapters that they call non-geo. So that means that they're not geographically tied to a specific region. We cover all United States, Latin America, Puerto Rico also. And the tricky part with the chapter like that is that you're doing events all over US, and it's kind of a blessing, but also it's difficult to do. So the only reason I can do this is because I have an amazing team that we built throughout the years that help do events all over United States. I'm based out of Florida. Because we're non-geo and because we're the M Chapter, we represent M, right? The best of BMW.
Yes.
We have a lot of connections and work really tightly with BMW North America. Yeah. And it's been a blessing both ways because they rely a lot on us to do events, and we basically jump on the opportunity because we love to do this, right? This is a hobby. We love it. It's not what we do every day, but it gives us like a back end kind of approach and kind of like behind the scenes kind of stuff. And we do a lot of events with BMW where like Amelia Concours is one that has been a staple for us, right? Yes. BMW always has a big presence. The 50 years of M, they had a 50 car display, and
wow, that's
we were
quite
blessed.
Impressive.
It was, and we got it was blessed. I think BMW Classic was out there. We had a Benny from Benny Voss was out there.
Yes,
super cool guy. I hung out with Benny a bunch of times, and we were blessed to get a call from BMW and say, "Hey, Esteban, we're gathering 50 BMWs for Amelia. Can you get us 50 cars from your M Chapter?" I said, absolutely. I have about 1,800 members now, and Amelia has been a staple for us. We put out an email, we're going to have 50 spots, submit your car, give me a little bit of the story, why we should pick you, and the spread of cars that we get is always amazing.
I mean, I think that's very, very important for the community, especially if you focus on one specific part of a brand, which is M in your case. I assume you also help each other with like where you find good parts in the US and all this kind of thing. So besides the social element, it's also a knowledge base, I could assume. If you have 1,800 members, that's really a big thing. I mean, there's lots of brain in that chapter.
Absolutely. And again, I rely heavily on the membership. They do rely a lot on us. Also, I get at least 2 or 3 emails a week just asking, hey, I have this problem, or hey, do you know how many, cars of this, model were made?
Yes.
It's all about networking. That's why I do this. I love it just because of the people that I've met and the connections that I've made. I even, one of the cars that I have right now still that I own was a gift from one of my M Chapter members. And it was, it was a really great story. And it was a car that had a really significance, high significance for them because they had it since brand new, and his daughters had learned how to drive it, in it. So it went through so many snowstorms to them. So he wanted someone, to own a special that would care for it the way that they did. And when I showed interest, they said, fly up and just, pick it up. It's yours.
What model is it?
It's actually a 2004 BMW X3 manual. So it's a 6-speed.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's like one of 1,000 or something in that line. And again, it's a good friend of mine, Doug. He's like, for you, do you want it? I said, yeah. He said, fly up, pick it up. It's free for you. Amazing. Whatever you were going to pay me, just put it into maintenance. I put 4 brand new tires, did full new brand new suspension, everything, brakes brand new, basically made it up to speed again. And it gave it a new life. And I share pictures with him, and every time I'm doing something with it, he's enjoying that I kept it, living. And, those stories like that are the ones that make M Chapter and BMW CCA special, because you meet people through BMW CCA that basically has amazing experiences that you can just, live to tell because of the people that you meet through it.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that makes it really special. And I have to say that the E83, I think it is, right?
Yep.
This is the sheerest form. I really like the design and shape of that car because the size is absolutely right. And I mean, I've always been a big fan of the 3 Series Tourings. I really like them because everything, like the split window, everything on them, like the inline 6, perfect engine. From all the generations, I have to admit. But then came, I think this was 2003, is actually the year it came out. And I think the X3 is a wonderful looking hybrid in terms of design, being a large enough station wagon with a bit higher, so SUV style, but not that big. And finding this as a manual is really, really, really rare, I have to say.
It is indeed, yeah.
What a lovely story. We spoke about the M2, but there's also another M2, and you mentioned it already 2 times, which is the M2 Competition.
Yes.
You own. This car you spec'd by yourself, right? This is a new purchase?
Correct. So with M2, both of them, M2 and M2 Comp, were purchased brand new, spec to my liking. M2, I both at my local dealer. Met a lot of good people at the local dealer just through these cars also. And the M2, I wanted to get European delivery, but I couldn't. So I just did the Performance Center delivery, which again connected me to a bunch of really good people in South Carolina. So I did the PCD with the 2016 M2, but as soon as I picked it up, I was already into forums, reading a lot. I already knew that there was rumors of the M2 Competition coming in. So as soon I ordered, I think it was in April, the M2. It got delivered in September. Picked it up, drove it down to Florida from South Carolina, and I swing by the week after to the local dealer again, and I say, here, there's $1,000 check for a deposit for the M2 CS or the M2 Competition. I don't know what they're going to call it, but there's rumors that it's coming with the S55, and I want one. And my guy at the dealer is like, how do you know all this? I said, well, I read a lot online, and there's rumors always here and there. And, and I ended up getting one of the first M2 competitions. I think there was 500 first allocations that came to US. Yeah. And I already traded in my M2 at the same dealer. Got a really good deal in trading for it. And I was actually traveling for work in Connecticut. And my guy calls me and says, hey, the allocation opened up. Come over so you can spec it. So I came in, we spec'd it completely like I wanted. It was funny because I originally expected in Long Beach blue also, because I
Yes.
love the M2. I said, I'm so afraid of changing the color. I like it so much. And then,
But then there was sunset orange metallic, I hope.
they had sunset orange, which a lot of people say sunset brown because it depends
Yes.
on the lighting.
Yeah, exactly.
But I saw the first videos of the launch car in Ascari, I think it was.
It was Ascari, exactly.
And they showed the Hockenheim silver. And I was like,
Yes.
oh no, this is going to have to change. So already I had the Instagram account, and everyone was looking at the M2 and they knew I was getting the M2 Comp. And a lot of people say, no, change it, do something else. So I kept it like I was the same color until I actually, got it delivered. And I had switched it like 24 hours before the last time that you can do changes to the build. And I switched it to Hockenheim silver, and I hadn't seen it in person. I didn't see it. And that one was special because I did European delivery with the M2 Comp. That was the year before they canceled that. Like that was the last year they did it. So it wasn't until I walked up to the car at the BMW Welt that I saw it in person, and I was like blown away. I'm like, I'm glad I changed the color.
I mean, I wish you have gone for my favorite color, which is the brownish sunset orange metallic. But the Hockenheim silver metallic is fantastic. But I would like to understand the way the European delivery worked at that time.
The first step was asking the dealer, hey, I want it to be a European delivery.
Yes.
All you have to do is fly yourself and pick it up. And then once you're done with it, you leave it back and they'll ship it over for you.
Oh, okay, they do
US.
the ship. So BMW does the shipping for you.
Correct. They give you tourist plates for up to 30 days, I think it is. So if you want to be there a month, you can be there a month. I did 10 days. So I flew into Paris. I hadn't been to Europe. So I basically did a flight to Paris, did some sightseeing.
How cool is that? The first Europe trip.
Exactly. And then that's why it was so memorable, because it was my first time in Europe, also getting a car and then driving it through beautiful roads, right? I picked it up. I had a route for about 5 days. After I picked up the car, stayed in Lake Como. Italy was beautiful.
Ooh.
I mean, but then after that, it was off the races. I went through Austria. I went through Furka Pass. I did Stelvio Pass. I have a video of Stelvio Pass, starting in the bottom and then at the top. It was in early October. So it was right before the required winter tires.
Yeah.
So it was already the top of the mountain, was full of snow. So it was beautiful. It was one of the best experiences that I've had, one of the best vacations that I've done. And it was thankfully for BMW because they were still offering it back then. And so I said, M2 Comp, I don't know when I'm going to buy another brand new BMW. So this is it. I'm going to do European delivery.
I mean, there's a question burning under my nails. It's like, what was the fastest you went after a secure driving in phase on the German Autobahn?
So I was sticker with the, guidance, and I did on the Autobahn about 105 miles per hour. But the day that I needed to bring the car back to deliver it so they can then ship it, I start conversation with a fellow that's at the receiver area, and he's like, "Oh, did you have fun?
Yeah.
Well, how fast did you go?" And I said, "About 105." The brake, and he says, "These cars are already broken in."
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, "You know what? I know you're supposed to." He's like, "You're gonna go and do 120, 130 miles per hour on the Autobahn, and then once you're done, then tomorrow you come to the airport, you drop off the car here, leave the key in like if you would deliver today, and then you go off." So again, the super positive, experience with the fellow there. And I did. I took it up and I put like 130 miles per hour on the Autobahn.
Okay, we have to also give a bit so when you first drive it in, it was 105 miles. It's around 169 kilometers an hour for the European guests of our podcast. And then, of course, Esteban took it a bit more to the limit and went 120, 130 miles. So that's between 200 kilometers and 215. So it's quite quick for someone who can only drive. What's the speed limit in Florida? The quickest one you can go?
Legally it's 70. Legally it's 70,
Okay.
but where I live, everyone is like doing 80, 85 always.
But Esteban is not doing this. So
Correct, no.
please all the authorities know Esteban is driving 70 strictly.
Right there,
There's no doubt about it. And we encourage everyone to do the same.
Absolutely.
Because that keeps you away from trouble. If you want to go fast, do this on a closed circuit or a closed section of the road
On the track.
where you have the allowance to do so.
Like I did, right? I took mine,
Of
both
course.
of my M2s. They did see the Daytona Rolex 24 layout. They do track days here, and both of them were on there. And I think 160 miles per hour was probably what I got to top out on the straight there. So it was fun.
With the competition?
With both, with the M2 and the competition, yeah.
Mega. I mean, that's, I would say that's quite quick because that's 257 something.
Yep.
In kilometers an hour. Not too bad. Not too shabby, as the British say.
And the competition, I can tell you had more. I just, I'm the type of guy who goes to track, has some fun, and wants to make sure that it brings it back in one single piece. So the car might have more, but I know my limits.
And I take you to another little detour, I would say, of our conversation, because we have a piece that's called the pit stop. And the pit stop is this quick series of questions where I would like you to answer very quickly. So are you ready for the pit stop, Esteban?
I'm ready.
Perfect. Here we go. Esteban, this is your classic hard pit stop. Timeless design or cutting edge innovation?
Timeless design.
Compact agility or luxury comfort?
Compact agility.
Black or colorful?
Colorful.
Mint condition or enthusiastically driven condition?
Enthusiastically driven condition.
Customization or factory perfection?
Customizing.
We jumped on that well, John. I was sure you were saying customization. That's very good. Driving alone or driving with passengers?
Skip.
Car sharing or no car?
No car.
Road trip or racetrack? That's an awful question.
But honestly, I would say road trip.
Autobahn or country road?
Country road.
Stick shift or pedals?
That's manual all the way. Both M2 and M2 Comp were both spec manual.
Point taken. Petrol or diesel?
Petrol.
Diesel or electric?
Or diesel.
Electric or no car?
No car.
Sell or keep?
I definitely keep too long, but I do sell often. But I'd rather keep them if I could at every car.
Classic road trip playlist or just the sound of the engine?
Just saw the engine.
Nice. Thank you very much, Esteban. So, timeless design. What do you think makes timeless design timeless?
BMW knows how to do it. I think timeless design it has to do with so much more than what you can actually see. Mm-hmm. I know we had a lot of vehicle designers back in the podcast, and I've enjoyed how their vision comes through. I don't know if there's a recipe to create a car that automatically you see it and you know it's going to be timeless. But to me, I think BMW, and I have one, it's an E46 M3. I think that's a timeless design, right?
Yeah, it's 100%. I agree.
It's smack in the middle. When I let go of my M2, I knew I had to have a car that still represented the M brand really well. And I decided to stick with my E46 M3. And I've done a lot to that car to be close to what a CSL would have been. And I think it's a timeless design. It's a car that looked good when it came out new, looks good today. I can bet you in 30 years it's still going to look good, compared to other cars. So I think timeless design it's not just how they look, it's how they perform, how they sound. That's why I said it's not just what you see. To me, it's a whole package.
Yeah. And I mean, don't forget that especially the E46, under the design lead of Chris Bangle at that time, it was established, if I'm not mistaken. And it was so forward-thinking for its time. And it was a bit ahead of its time, actually. But that, I think, is the secret of these models, especially also E36, E46, E90. They all will come and get there, in a sense. And the major exterior design was made by Designworks USA, which is 100% daughter of BMW. And I think it was Eric Goplin who did this. So I think you're on the right track. And I think it's a bit of a sleeper still. So people, they are now, of course, of the anniversary, they're crazy about the E30. But I think that people will totally appreciate the E46. And that means also, we had one guest, Chen Eiklik from Driven 34. He's also a fellow BMW enthusiast from Turkey, Istanbul. And he also said that his M Series E46 is the one he loved the most.
I've had a few E30s that, compared to the S14 that these bring, they're underpowered unless you're ringing them out. So I've had some other E30s that, are quicker and faster. So it's a balance. I know that E30 M3 is like, it's a chariot car. Everyone is saying it's like the pinnacle. I agree. It's beautiful. I've driven the E90X also. Amazing sound, but it's just a little bit bigger than what I would like. Down on torque also. So compared, to some other engines, sounds amazing. But the S54 and the M3, right, and the E46, I lighten mine. Probably, I got to weigh it, but it's probably like 250, 300 pounds lighter than in stock. I did the carbon roof. I cut out my roof and everything. So that car, the way that it's spec'd, it has a half cage. It has full coilovers. I mean, that car has every modification that you can probably think of. It drives amazingly. And I think it's to me, it's a BMW that it's right on the cusp, on the cusp of being changeover from the analog to, the still old school, but not too intrusive, but still cutting edge. And they drive amazing. And to me, that's, I'll argue with anyone any day that that's one of the best M3s that has come out and that will ever come out.
I agree. So totally correct. And what I really love, Esteban, I love a very interesting fact that just came to my mind while we were speaking and while you were saying that you reduced weight, because you are an aeronautical engineer. For me, it's crystal clear now that there was no other destiny than you becoming a BMW fan, because that's the source of all BMWs as well. Because when they came from aeronautics, as you know, and also maybe the majority of our listeners know, but BMW was building airplanes in the early beginnings. This is why they were so specialized in fighting weight instead of having high-powered cars. So, for example, there are some letters from the Mercedes race department from the 30s saying, we don't understand how a BMW, a small, tiny race car like the BMW, can beat our big powered machines, because the weight and performance ratio was much higher than with all other cars.
And yes, weight, not everything is just power. And I've had this conversation many times where, you see a lot of the American cars coming out, 1,000 horsepower and all that stuff. Yeah, it's all good. But I mean, if you don't have, the balance and the weight and the aerodynamics, it's just a high horsepower machine at that point, right? The engineering behind it is making them go fast. And again, BMW has come out with some heavy cars lately. Yes. I drove a few months ago the new M5, right? The new M5 is a huge car. It's big, it's heavy. But once you drive it, you don't feel the weight, because it handles and it puts the power down and it brakes that you can't feel it. So it's really knowing how to build them in a way that, even though if they're heavy, because you just can't get away from that with the new regulations and the crash and safety, rules that are out there, you can't avoid it. And being able to put out a car that's heavy but still performs like that, it's something that BMW has known how to do well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely the right point. How would you describe what BMW means to you as a brand?
I think BMW to me is a lot of innovation. I think they are not afraid to, do things differently sometimes, because if you're always playing it safe and doing the same thing, you're not going to come up with new innovations, right? And I think BMW has done that. They're always trying to do some innovations, trying to figure out, how to engage the driver. They're still keeping some cars with the manual, which is great. A lot of other, manufacturers are going away from the manual options. and they're trying to keep it as long as they can. I've told everyone that they can just still order a brand new manual so they can keep on making them. But I think it's something that people need to understand, that a car manufacturer like that needs to keep innovating and changing things and trying things different sometimes. Not always works, but you can't figure that out until you go and do, something different.
Absolutely right. I think it's very nicely phrased. So is there one dream BMW that still is on your bucket list that you are eager to own in hopefully your long to come collecting life of BMWs?
I think the original M1 is a dream car to a lot of people. I'm really good friends with Scott Hughes, BMW collector. He has, a beautiful one that was restored by BMW Germany. He brought it to us to show it at Amelia.
Mm-hmm.
That car is amazing. Right? It's something that I would dream to own something like that one day, just because of the history that it has and how beautiful they are. They're just untouchable.
I think these are very nice closing words. Esteban Valentin, thank you very much for joining us here at the Classic Heart podcast. A very BMW M heavy episode today. And I thank you for enlightening us and also take us on the journey and your personal BMW M journey. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Esteban.
It was an absolute pleasure, JP. Thanks again to your team. Everyone up to leading to the podcast was super helpful through, communications. And it's been a pleasure to be here on with you.
You mentioned the team, and of course, this podcast would not be happening without a great team behind it. And that's Friederike von Königswald, our project manager and editor, and of course, Marcus and Alex from Scenario Studio, and many other people around that help organizing everything. New on board is Jan, who helps a lot with the organization of everything. So it's a great team behind this podcast. And if you like the podcast, please do us a favor and put the subscribe button, like what you hear, because every like helps us to beat the algorithm. And if you have the feeling that you want to hear a story, a specific one about someone you saw, you hear in another place, or you think is a great guest for our podcast, please look at our show notes and you will find the ways to get in touch with us. So thank you everyone for tuning in at this episode, this very M episode, I would say. It's more an episode than an episode. So thank you very much, everyone. And especially Esteban. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Bye-bye.